Do you remember that? Teachers used to handwrite in your grade, and sometimes they would handwrite a comment. And every comment I ever remember getting on a report card started off something to the effect of, if Jodi would only stop talking to her neighbor, she could get her own work done and reach her full potential. And I remember that dig of the potential. Did anybody get some of that? Like, oh, how do you reach your potential? And I remember thinking, okay, I'm doing it wrong. I need to just stop talking and put my head down and work. And I tried that through school. I tried that quite a bit. And it got me some success. But what I really remember throughout my life are the times where I reached out to people and I talked and I put together events and I put together parties and book clubs and business retreats all over the world. And those are the moments where I just shine and they make me happy. And they're the times where I really remember tapping into that point as a kid that I loved, where time disappeared. And so when I think about getting momentum, it's about tapping back into those gifts that really drive me, that make things seem effortless. I also had the great pleasure of hosting TEDx events in my small town and community. I live up in Ojai, California, which is about 100 miles north of here. And the thing about momentum is you don't always know what's coming, right? You may have a plan for this one thing, but it grows. And when you're in that zone and you're in your space and you're doing what you love, people notice it. People are here and it just builds an energy. So 9 years ago, my husband Jason and I left our very stable, secure jobs with health care and salaries and all that good stuff, and we launched our own company because we said we could do this, and we could do this together. We could do this anywhere in the world, anywhere with Wi-Fi. Isn't that great? And that's what, I remember waking up one day thinking, I'm a business owner. Like, it was this very grown-up feeling. And business owners go to networking events. That was like my next challenge after we got clients and we were up and running. And I remember not liking the business events. It was in 2008, 2009, and I don't know if you remember that time, but it was tough, especially in small towns. Ojai is a tourist community, so people weren't traveling, they weren't shopping, they weren't going out as much. So all the networking events that I was going to, people were upset and depressed. And when I would come home from these events, I felt upset and depressed, and like I had been hanging out with all the energy suckers. This isn't fun. Somebody should do something about this. Somebody, that's us, Jason on stage, and that's us running our company. But I kept thinking to myself, somebody should do something about this. Somebody should host a networking event that people actually want to go to, that are fun and outrageous and super inspiring, and where people talk about what's working. We hear not just what isn't working, but what are you using, who are you using, that sort of thing. And so finally, that somebody should do something, I decided to do what I do, is to go from nothing to something. And so I invited 13 of my girlfriends out for drinks one night, and it was cold, rainy February, and I was so impressed that they left the house in the rain, because Southern California girls, we just don't go out, because you give it a day and the weather changes. So, but they met up, and they were the business owners in town, the accountant, the restaurant owner, the insurance agent, the therapist, and just small town folks. And I said, instead of let's not do the typical what's your elevator pitch and what's your ideal client, that sort of stuff. Let's just talk like normal people. Like people in a bar, friends hanging out together, and share what's working. And the prompt I really gave them was, what would you like this group to know about you? And it shifted. People didn't get nervous, because you know that nervous feeling when you're in a networking group and it's almost your turn, they're going around in a circle, it's like, who am I going to say, who am I today? You know, and he's laughing. Yes, we've all had that point, because it's not authentic, it's not genuine, it's necessary to be able to communicate. That's not really us, right? So it's so important to get to know who we are and what we want people to know about us. So then the thank you calls and emails from those 13 women started coming in, and I said, when's the next one? I want to put it on my calendar. Another lady said, when's the next one? Can I bring my friend? She just started her own company. And I thought, next one? Yeah, next one. Let me get back to you. And so it started something that just gained momentum. I did these networking events once a month for 5 years. I hosted them in Ojai, California, as well as all over the world. I hosted them in New York City, in London, and Zurich, and Chicago, and Raleigh, and wherever Jason and I went to deliver our trainings. I would also just post on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and let people know, women, if you have a business or if you're running an department, come meet other women. Just come meet people in your community, get to know one another. And what it did was it gave me this credibility, and it made me the hub of my small town. It gave me a huge list to start. I wasn't selling anything, they were free. People bought their own drinks or food if they wanted, but really it just tapped into something where people are just hungry to connect on a genuine level. So finally I felt like I had momentum, right? Like I had something to talk about, and I got invited to speak on one of the TED stages in Qatar at the TED Summit. And it was a lifelong dream because I've been doing these TEDx events in my community, and now I got to meet with about 1,000 TEDx coordinators from all over the world. And to me, momentum comes when things build on one another. We hang out with people like this that love what they do and remember how to tap back into those gifts and talents. So here's just a few of my tips and things that I do to get momentum along the way. And the first one, you've heard a lot about this the last day or so, is building your team. And me personally, I don't have any staff. That was not my goal, is to build a big company, but I have a team, and I have people that support me along the way. So the next couple days, if you have time in between breaks or on the airplane when you're going home, get a piece of paper, put your name in the middle, and write the little spokes out from the center, and start thinking about who do you talk to on a regular basis, at work, outside of work, just to listen to you. You know, who's that friend, who's that colleague that'll just listen, not fix, but just listen. Technology, you probably, like some dude's face just popped into your head, right? Your tech friend that'll help you sync your phone to your app to this, to that, you know. Everybody's gotta have that because things go wrong. Health and wellness. The hardest time to find a doctor or someone to help you out is when you're not feeling well, when you're not feeling right. Finances. You don't have to figure this out. There are people who love figuring out data entry and bookkeeping and advising you on where to put things and how to manage it. Finally, inspiration. So now that you have an idea of who you have in your team, right? Like who's on your side. Here's a couple tips on building momentum with those people and tapping back into them on a regular basis. Number one, no pop quizzes. And this came from my husband and I working together. And when you work with a spouse or family member, there's no downtime. There's, weekends are work days and evenings are work time, and there's no edges. It's not like we ever leave work. We're together a lot. And so this came out of necessity. And really the concept is, let's not pull each other out of the present moment to handle logistics and admin stuff. When we're together in somewhere special, or if we're with a client, or if we're with, people we're looking to collaborate with, let's stay in the moment, and we'll handle all the details later. Don't ask questions of people when they're not in the space to answer, right? Don't ask me about invoices or the balance of anything, because I don't keep that here. That's what the computer's for. Times like these are special. Last couple of years, Jason spoke in Bali at a keynote. We went to South America and got to speak in the Galapagos this year. So we're building this work and lifestyle because that's what drives us. And so I don't mind that every day is a work day because this is where I work sometimes. And so whatever that is for you, figuring out what feeds you and makes you want to get up, jump out of bed in the morning is so important. Second tip is catching people doing something right. Such a big thing. And I love the video that just went on where you're talking about acknowledging people and how they show up. For me, one example is I actually send thank you emails to clients when I receive our payment on time. We have a net 30 days, and when we get paid on time or early, I send a thank you. And I let them know it is a big deal, and it helps us as a small company keep our focus on serving clients and not chasing clients. And over the last 9 years, we've had repeat clients that hire us a couple times a year. And I now have clients out there that make it their personal game to see how fast they can get us paid. And as a small company, you gotta know how much that helps. And it all came from saying, thank you so much. Your attention to detail really makes a big difference in our work. So catch people doing something right along the way. And then bring your team together. You know, I love in-person conferences because it's a chance to talk and walk in the halls and stand in line in the ladies' room and all those things that don't happen on webinars, right? The real life moments. You get to know people. I'm loving the technology of bringing people together with video chats because it's different than email or phone conversations. You can't check your phone and check your email if people can see your face, right? So this is a nonprofit group that I'm helping out here in LA. It's called Write Girls, and they connect at-risk girls to women writers to mentor them into college. They have a 100% success rate. 100% success rate of getting these girls into college because they build these relationships where they don't let the girls fail. And doing video chats is now helping volunteers show up on a weekly basis instead of monthly and quarterly. This is our Get Momentum community. We have about 85 people all over the world that are members, and we take turns. We rotate on the video. That's Jason in the top right up there. But people, once Fridays, we have these chats, video chats, where people just get on and share their wins, share what they want the community to know what's going on in their world, and it keeps people engaged and connected. And it's easy to bring people together. 3 steps. Take the initiative. When people ask me all the time, well, who gave you the right or permission to put together the women's business socials and bring all those business ladies together? And at first that used to really intimidate me because nobody did. But then it was, I did. I said I wanted this to happen. I set up the time and the place, and I invited people. That's how easy that is. So if you have something that you're thinking about doing, or if you want people's attention on you and what you're working on, take the initiative. Set the time and place and invite people. This was a hedge fund meeting where they, in New York City last week, where they have a corporate social responsibility that they're working on a safe house. And I've been going to their meetings every month, and I couldn't be there in New York this last one. And so they video chatted me into the luncheon. So anything is possible now. Meeting and blending the in-person, in-print, online. This is a coffee chat where we invite people all over the world. As Jason and I travel to do workshops, we let them know where we're going to be having coffee in the morning. No fees, no invitations, no sign-up forms, just coffee with Womack.com. That's what we do, and people show up. It is so amazing, and it's because people are starved for real connection. This isn't branding for us. We don't strategize this. This is us wanting to meet with people for real. And so really, it's about getting back to that kid that, what was fun? What did you not have to motivate yourself to do, but you just did because you loved it? Networking, to me, it's about starting where we are. Start with who's around you. Get to know your neighbors. Get to know your coworkers. Make it something that the kid would love to do. I went fly fishing this summer with my dad and kayaking with my husband, and there's something about being a kid and playing, getting back to that core value. And really the best time to network and connect to people is when you have something to give.